Hey, boys and girls. I'm super excited about reading this story to you tonight. This is called A Letter for Leo. My son is named Leo, and so he loves hearing this book. In this book, though, Leo's not a little boy, Leo is a mailman. A Letter from Leo by Sergio Rosier. Leo is a mailman of a little old town. There he is. There's his mail he delivers, his mail bag. It's from this little cool town. He carries all kinds of mail, big boxes and small packages. What do you think's in that package there? Yeah, well, looking on the face of that dog, we know that's a big bone. He carries packages of all sizes, envelopes of every size, catalogs, love letters, birthday cards, all kinds of stuff. There he is delivering the mail, and then here he is giving a little fish a package. Fish hooks? That fish doesn't want fish hooks. That's called return to center. You gotta send that back. Often, Leo stops to play a game of bocce with his friends. There's Leo playing bocce. I don't know if you've ever played bocce. It's kind of like bowling, but it's kind of on land. Or he sits down for a moment to rest and to chat. And there's Leo sitting there, resting, talking. Leo has a pleasant life, except for one thing. With all the mail that he delivers every day, he's never received a letter for himself. Have you ever received a letter? It's kind of fun opening a letter addressed to you, huh? Maybe tomorrow, he sighs. It's like he's kind of sad. He really wants a letter. One morning, Leo's about to open the mailbox when he hears, what could that be, he wonders. Cheep, 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 cheep. Who are you? Cheep, cheep. Where do you come from? Cheep. Cheep. There's the little bird just going cheep, cheep, cheep. You must have lost touch with your flock. A flock's a group of birds. And you're too little to fly south by yourself. So birds, they fly south in the winter. Leo gives Cheep some sun-dried crickets. Sun-dried crickets. He always keeps them in his satchel for emergencies. What should I do with you? Leo's thinking. I guess I'll take you home with me. So he puts Cheep on his hat, decides to take him home. I hope you'll be comfortable here. He makes a little bed for Cheep. Looks like he's got a new little friend. Now time goes by and Leo delivers the mail and Cheep follows him around. Leo and Cheep are now a little family. See, Leo's cooking his meal for Cheep. Cheep says, cheep, cheep. Yes, says Leo, that's snow. And they go outside and they build snowmen and they play in the snow. Now, when springtime comes, the birds leave their warm winter homes and fly north. And you can see Cheep, he's looking up there. Maybe I should be joining those birds, right? Cheep is a big little bird now, and he's ready to go. Cheep, cheep, says Cheep. Cheep, says Leo. Look at Leo's very sad. He gives Cheep a big hug before sending him on his way. Bye-bye, Cheep. There's Leo waving as Cheep flies away to meet his flock. And Leo's kind of sad. Leo goes back home to his life as it was before Cheep, delivering all the mail. And he delivers the mail and he talks to his friends. But what he was really hoping for, as he looks up and sees those birds, what he was really hoping for, it finally arrived. Leo got a letter. And so he opened it up, and guess what it said? You got it. It said, cheep, 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 cheep. Cheep wrote Leo a letter. And not just that, but Cheep came and returned to say hi to Leo once again. And that's the story of Leo Gets a Letter by Sergio Ruzzier. Bye, boys and girls.